In the beginning, there were only hand-drawn grid maps, flat dungeon tiles, and expensive 3D dungeons. Then, DM Scotty brought you the 2.5D method of tile creation, making your layers easy to construct and play in. Now, DM Scotty brings you 2.5D Next, the evolution of 2.5D modular dungeon creation.
Hey crafters, most of you probably know me by now as DM Scotty, the inventor of 2.5D, and we built up quite a following around this, and basically it's just making tiles out of cardboard and simulating walls on those tiles and making cheap terrain and stuff to go on the tiles. Well, I feel it's time to move on from that. I have a more modular system that I'd like to show you, and there's nothing wrong with the original 2.5D. I just feel that this is less work, and you wouldn't have to even build a set of tiles, a standard set. You could just build this, the mats and the walls that I'm going to show you, and then you'd be good to go. You'd be all set. You wouldn't really have to make anything else as far as like dungeons, unless you were trying to make a different terrain or something. Now I have made modular cave walls, and you can see that in the vid over here. Make sure you check out that. It's a very similar system. So I'm kind of thinking as 2.5D Next, I guess. So this is the next, I feel, the next evolution of 2.5D. Now the walls are more detailed, and so are the floors, but the trade-off is that once you get a set of these, you won't really have to make any more to do your standard dungeons. You'll just have a box of these, and you're just good to go for whenever. Your box of walls and mats, and you'll be good to go whenever. So I feel you can spend a little more time crafting details on these. And what I was going for with these was I wanted more detail on the walls, which, you know, like I say, since you're reusing the walls, that's worth the work. More detail on the top of the walls. The walls I wanted to be heavy enough that they wouldn't slide around the table, but also be modular enough that you could use any setup you wanted with these things. So I was trying to take all these things into consideration when I crafted this. I also still wanted to keep them cheap. So these are very cheap. Now they might be a little more expensive than to start out to build the set than tiles. Not much, they're not very expensive, but they might be a little more expensive to start out than building the tiles. But you got to think of it this way: if you keep building tiles, then you're going to spend more money because you got to buy paint, the paint and spray paint and all that stuff. So eventually you'll spend more money on the individual tiles than you will on the system, which, like I say, is still really cheap. So we're keeping the cheap factor. We're adding some more detail, and we're adding some nice weight to these walls so they won't flop around the table or get knocked around the table. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you to a table and show you a setup of this new Next 2.5D system, and I'll show you that. And once I show you, I'm going to do some more vids in this series. The vids will detail how I made these, how quick and cheap and easy it was to really make this set. And so let's go to the table now, and I'll show you this new system. Hey friends and fellow crafters, here's my pile of traditional 2.5D tiles, and here's my 2.5D Next. You see this is a bit cluttered, and you got to go through these and find the right tiles. But right here I've got everything I need to build my dungeon in this box and on these mats. So here we go, here's the system. I got all my walls in this box here, this Plano box, and I've got all my mats that I use to make the floors for this system. Now on the other side I've done like a cave floor. You can make different styles of stone on each side, and so get double use out of each mat. So here we go, here's my tiles, and I've got in descending order or descending length, so they're easy to pick out and use in the game. And so that's a nice handy storage for them right there. And it doesn't look like a lot, but that'll do quite a bit of dungeon tiles. Okay, so I'm going to start out and show you here. So I'm going to put down a mat, and this will be the entrance. So our adventurers are trying to rescue Roderick, and they've discovered that he's in a jail. And here we got a couple of double large wooden doors here. And I'll put the entrance, side of the entrance here with these stone pieces, and then some torches coming out of the walls. So they figure out how to get into the dungeon. So we'll open the doors there. And then as they explore, you can start adding pieces like you would in traditional 2.5D. So here we go, I add my walls to make a room. And I'm going to make this kind of a hexagonal room. So I'll move this mat over, and I'm going to add another mat, okay? And I can continue it, so I can add it anywhere really connected to the other mats. So I'll just make the room here and lay all the pieces down. So they come in, and they notice there's a stairway up and a fire pit and a training dummy. But they want to continue on. They feel that he's in this lower level, so they continue on. And so they go to the end of the room, and I add some more torches to the walls. Then I add some more walls and a door, okay? So now they've got a door. Do they want to explore the door or continue on? They decide to check out the door, see what's behind there. So I just move the mat. I'm just doing this for the camera and the table. I would just leave it on the table and just add the extra mat. So I add the walls here, make the room out, and make it any shape you want there, just with whatever walls you want to use. I decided to make an interesting shape. So I add some supplies to the room and a chest. So the adventurer's like, we can take a little side trip. Oh wait, this gate comes crashing down, so they decide, well, we better go find Roderick. So now I'm going to make the prison here, and I move the tile down so you don't have to have them exactly next to each other. You can just move them around however you need to make your rooms. So here I'm making the prison area, and I got a couple cells there, and add the torches to the walls, and they're coming in looking around. No guards as yet, which is really weird. And so we got our cells here, and we'll finish up this room. And you see they don't necessarily have to connect. You can just close it off there. So they come in, they're looking in the cells. Add a few more torches, got some light. They're looking in the cells, and they see somebody moving around in one of the cells, and they're like, oh, Roderick. Ronaldo's like, oh, we have found Roderick. And like Roderick's like, oh, friends, I am so glad you have found me. Now I can get back in Scotty's videos, yay. But unfortunately, the enemies come up. Roderick's like, oh, good, I've been waiting to kill some people. So here's a look-see of the whole thing. I'll just pan down it. You can see that first room there, and we go down, we had the door, leads into like a little storage treasure room there. And you can see the mats are just kind of haphazard on there. You just put them on as you need to add floor space to the dungeon. And yeah, and here's another one I want to show you. Here's like a sewer. So the players climb down the sewer. There's a pile there of goo. I've just made the sewage out of cardstock and hot glue. And you can see we got a spider's lair there in one room. In another room we have goblins making some goblin brew. And the doors are like the sewage tunnels. I thought that was kind of a neat idea. And so we got our guys in there. And that's a rather large room. And I want to show you the still there, kind of neat. And we continue down our sewage tunnel. And we have a side tunnel, which there's an alligator hiding. And we have another little alcove with a torch. That's kind of nice. So you can do all this kind of cool stuff. Then we go into a room and there's a lift that can lift you down. There's another layer to the level to the sewage, and it goes down, and you can lift down to go to the next layer. So that's kind of cool. So we got the big room there, go back, pan through, and we got a pretty big layout here with these walls. I still had walls left, so I could even make this bigger. So pretty nice with how big you can make this stuff. And you just keep adding to it. There you go, 2.5D next. Hey crafters, I hope you enjoyed the introduction to the next 2.5D system. And make sure you watch the other vids in this series as I detail how you make these and bring them to your table. So I have one last thing to say. Go forth and craft!
Roderick is free! Oh, yahoo! Hey, wait a minute. These tiles look different than the last time I was here, DM Scotty. What have you done?